Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem, performed this afternoon by Peter Griffin and his dirt bike.
This is Nick Way from DeWitt, and you're listening to DMXS Radio.
Guys, welcome back to DMXS Radio. We appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Thanks to our sponsors, Racer X, MX Sports, W Wheels, OGO Concept, Two Rowers, and of course the great folks at Dunlop. Check them out at Ride Dunlop on all their social. Our next guest is such a badass. We only know him as the man. Welcome back to DMXS, Roger DeCoster. What's up, sir? Roger, you there?
I'm here, yes.
How are you doing, sir? Welcome back to DMXS.
Yeah, thank you.
Hey, this is, you know what's funny? I've known you forever. The first time you were on the show, I looked it up. It was in 2003. And I think we were talking about Pastrana hurting his shoulder somehow in a pool. And I think Tortelli had just broken his leg. So a lot of time has passed since you've been on our show.
20 years.
Yeah, 20 years.
No, I've been on your show since then.
It is. No, I'm saying that when you first came on the show.
First time.
20 years ago, two decades ago. Hey, you know what? I've known you for a long time, but I do not know where the man started. Do you remember who started that?
I don't. So somebody in this side of the world started nicknaming me that name. It's kind of weird.
You know what? Nowadays, I'm glad you came around back then, because nowadays you would offend somebody with pronouns, because now everybody is so soft that they'd say, you can't say you can't say the man anymore.
Yeah.
Hey, your promotion to motorsports director at KTM Husky and GasCast was about 5 years ago. Is having 3 OEMs under your belt, is that like having 3 kids and just trying to share the love and attention among three of them at the same time?
Yeah, it's there's good things about it, but it's definitely there's negative things about it too, because it's you cannot do everything for three crews than you could for one,
Right.
So, but we try our best, and hopefully we don't disappoint riders too much.
Do you miss just being a team manager?
Not really. But I miss a smaller operation. Yeah.
What about, do you ever go, I know how much you love going in the shop and tinkering and machining stuff. Do you ever get a chance to do that anymore? Or are you too busy?
No, I still do that. And usually I spend the mornings answering my mail and meetings. We have pretty regular meetings with Austria on Zoom.
Yeah.
And that's usually first thing in the morning, and then when in the afternoon after lunch, I'm usually in the workshop.
That is awesome. That makes me happy.
Shop and workshop, yeah.
I know that because that makes me happy because I know how much you love to do that, and I'm glad that you still get a chance to do that. Hey, when you guys, signed Sexton, he was pretty much still in 80s. Have you ever signed a rider that early while he's still under an existing contract?
No, it seems to be going earlier and earlier.
Yeah.
It feels weird to start talking to people that early, but that's what happened with. The agents,
Yeah. Did you like, what did you see in Chase that made you say, I want to go get him a year and a half early or a year early and get him, locked down?
Actually, it was started from his side. The interest was shown from his agent side first. And I never thought I would be talking to a guy that early.
Wow. So, you know what? It's interesting because, like you said, things are going earlier and earlier. And when he's having so much success and, he had seemed like HRC was a place for him. Were you surprised that he was looking to leave Honda?
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause that's kind of like back in your day, that was the premier ride. People would covet that ride. So, hey, I know you're a fan of Alden. Do you want Sexton to eventually end up there with the rest of your guys?
Yeah, it would be simpler for us, and especially on the bike side, to ship bikes and parts on different places makes things that much, again, more work,
Does he train there? Does he ride there now, or with the other guys, or not?
He just started.
Okay, so he's there full time.
He has the option to go. He doesn't have to ride only there, but it looks like he's going to be there quite a bit. But he just started to switch over there.
Oh wow! I know that makes you and Ian happy. I know you guys are big fans of that program.
Well, yeah, we have everything set up there, and it's run professionally and. It's a good workshop and good tracks that they maintain properly, and we the riders, it's limited the riders that ride there, so you don't have a beginner, novice rider riding the track at the same time than the fast guys, which are so much faster, and it's kind of risky also. Was that always a point of contention with Cooper Webb when he decided not to go back there, and then you guys wanted him to stay there, and he went back and forth? Was that kind of a point of contention with you guys? Yeah, it was. That started at the beginning of when the rift came about with Cooper and between Cooper and our team.
Right. So when you say that, I mean, because I know that Cooper was on our show a little while ago, and he was kind of surprised that you guys signed Chase without even offering him a contract, after delivering some titles and things like that. So for in your mind, you always knew you weren't going to keep Cooper.
Yeah, we didn't expect that things were going to go as sour as they did. We had we had 3 really good years together.
Yeah.
2 championships and 1 second, and he could have won that one if it was not for
Denver.
That one crash in Texas, and I just want to remember the good times with.
Talk about good times. AP has been amazing. He has to be one of the coolest comeback stories that we've seen in a while. I mean, what do you think of that? What do you think of his persona, the fans? I mean, he's the whole package.
Yeah, we really like AP. We like his attitude and what he brings, the atmosphere he brings with him. It's good for the whole team, for everybody on the team, and it makes it more fun to fight at the races.
Yeah, and you know what? I know you didn't wear cowboy hats, but you used to wear some pretty cool hats. Your Bell helmet hat and stuff. I mean, you were a trendsetter back in the day too.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
Do you have any of those left? You must have some.
I'm sure in my old boxer there must be something like that somewhere.
Oh yeah, you were a cool ass dude back then. What do you think about his cowboy personality though? That I know that's fun and all that stuff, but I mean he really owns horses. He rides. I mean he's not a poser, but it's just the cowboy hat from the track walk all the way through to the podium is just the fans have embraced it.
Yeah, it started little by little, but now it's the fans are into it and. Red Bull is into it, and like everybody likes it. And my wife actually found an old picture of me when I came the first time to the States. We Joel and Bickers and we stopped at a place in Texas and bought some guns and some cowboy hats. And she found his old picture and sent it to him. So
that's awesome.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's truly a full circle.
Yeah.
When you look at his, last year, obviously when he was leading up to the last lap and crashed, and I know that when you move to a 450, there's no guarantees, especially with titles. He came with the pedigree to do that. It's almost like watching him this year. I mean, he can come through the pack. It's not just a matter of getting a start and just running away or staying up front. He's coming through the pack. I mean, he's never looked this good on a bike. On a 450.
I agree, and it's but maybe it's because he is really happy. He's happy with the way his bike feel, and it's set up for him, and he is different from other riders. The way he sets up his bike, he runs the front stiff and high, and the back kind of dead, and he makes it work, and. We're really happy with him.
Yeah. I know you've worked with almost every OEM and you've seen new bikes and new frames and new things coming through. I know you guys have a new bike in 2022. In your experience, how many years does it take before you guys can dial in after a full frame change, before you have enough data to feel like we've got this thing kicked?
I don't know. There is no set way time wise. You depend on a lot of things. You depend on what the engineers did at the factory. You depend on the test riders' input. You depend on your racers' input, and the top guys, they sometimes or many times actually you can make one small change and it can go from unrideable to perfect, or it can go from perfect to unrideable also.
Yeah.
And so it's you can never tell, it's and the bikes are getting closer and closer, and the riders and the tracks are getting. The riders are getting better. The tracks, the obstacles are more and more difficult, and that's why there's so few guys that actually can win a race, especially in the 450.
Yeah. Do you wish that you guys could have the choice to go back and forth between frames when you swap a frame out? If a rider is struggling like mid-season to go back to an older frame and just get through the season, or I know with OEMs they want their racers to ride what's in on the showroom floor, but do you wish you had some a little bit of choice
more
there?
Freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, every factory team, I think, feels that way, that you would like to have more freedom to change things. But if you look at the whole thing over the years, I think this rule has got quite a few positives on it,
Yeah. Well, you guys have figured it out too. And I know when you guys swap a frame out too, you've got 3 different brands that, all the riders are trying to figure out. And you'd hope that 3 sets of teams would help, with data and testing. But there also is, if you're upside down and you're searching like you guys were last year in 2022, that's got to be a black hole to dig out of every week.
Yeah. And when you have, 3 teams, there's only one guy that can win or get on the very top, and the other guys are not. So you always automatically you have a bunch of guys unhappy.
Right.
You know,
Yeah, only one winner.
Maybe 1 week it's on the KTM side, and the other week it's on the Husky side, and you know, so it's the like I said, you know, to win, especially in Supercross these days, you have to have a lot of talent and a lot of good people to set up the bike, and you know, it's tough.
A lot of variables. Why did y'all go back to 48 forks, and what's your reasoning on that, and how did the riders perceive a switch back and forth?
And the reason to go back was to have only to reduce the number of options.
Okay.
We could have stayed with 52s and choose only 52s or 48. We choose 48s because that's what our production bike is with also. So it's less variables.
And, you know, the Star Yamaha model has to be a dream model for everybody, because they basically they have a lot more freedom in what they do with the riders, saying, you know, just whatever you want to make you happy. But with you guys and other teams, you just can't do that. Like if the OEMs want 48s on the race bikes and on the showroom floor, you guys have to kind of follow that pattern?
Basically, yeah.
Oh, so do you wish that you could? I know some riders want those 52s. Do you wish you could still offer that? Because I know that your hands are tied from Austria.
I think our decision to choose for one was a good decision overall, because it reduces the options in half. You know,
Yeah.
like otherwise, like in the past, we had balls. So every setting you have with both forks that you know, it's just
too many options.
Double the options, and there's too many options.
Like a needle in a haystack when you have, you know, two different sets of forks, spring rates, clickers, all that stuff. It's like trying to find the magic one. It's takes twice as long. Gotcha. Hey, you know, you once told me that you hate when riders kind of make excuses instead of taking responsibility for you know what happens on the track. What is the balance that you found over the years between, okay, the bike might not, you know, be up to par that night, or the rider kind of isn't up to par that night? How do you balance that out when you're trying to talk to a rider, when you're like, hey, you know, a lot of that was on you, or maybe that was on me tonight? Yeah,
We try to be honest with the rider. You know, that's our goal. We don't try to say to the rider that the bike is perfect when we obviously see that it has shortcomings.
Okay.
But what the team usually can do with the bike setting ways, you know, they may be able to make a second with a lot of work, but the rider capability of making a difference is way more than the team in this sport, you know.
Yeah, and when you have two riders, that's got to be difficult too. When you have somebody on the same bike on the team just killing it, it's like, dude, you know, the same bike color underneath of that other guy, he's doing good. So I mean, it kind of gives them nowhere to go with excuses.
Yeah, exactly. It's and sometimes it's understanding what the rider is looking for.
Yeah,
you know, every rider has a different way to express the symptoms of a bike in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
So you almost need a dictionary to sometimes figure out what they're trying to tell you. And you know, they do feel something that is not correct, but to understand where it is and what it is exactly, that takes a skill by itself.
You know what? I've never really seen you mad. Like you don't ever see video of you like throwing a bike off the stand, or you're getting pissed, or throwing something in the semi. Like when you get mad, how do you express that? Like, do you just get quiet? Do you scream later when nobody's around? Do you kick your dog? What do you do?
Well, over the years, I have learned to contain it a lot better. But I I try not to say anything immediately because I would say something stupid probably.
Okay. So you take a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't have you ever yelled or cussed a rider out or been like, like gone off on them, or you've always kind of been just maybe stern talking to and not a full ass chewing like a Bobby Reagan?
No, I've never had the Bobby Reagan style, but I've gotten pissed off at some riders as well.
I'm sure.
But,
do you find like, you and I are definitely seeing the generations of riders coming up, from the 80s to the 90s to the now. How do you relate to these kids? I mean, these younger riders, to me, it's almost like they're from a different planet because they're just so different now. How have you learned to adapt to communicate and talk to these younger riders, especially on 250s when, they seem like they'd rather have their face on a phone than talk to a human?
Yeah, I'm definitely not the generation that is on the texting and all that. While I see some kids, they're jogging and they're texting at the same time. I cannot do that.
Yeah.
But I admire what they can do on the bike, because what these kids do especially on a supercross track where it's so compact and to ride a 450 and open the throttle on a 450 inside the stadium, you need some serious skills.
Yeah.
And even the guy that qualifies last for the main event, even that guy has some serious skills.
Yeah, and one thing, especially with SMX in the longer season, I know that they've talked about cutting the whoops down and limiting them, to 9 and making them smaller, no more dragons backs and things like that to help. Are you supporting of that? Were you pushing for that? Do you support that for the sport?
My main thing that I talked to the promoter about, and to Felt and even to the outdoor guys, is trying to make the tracks somewhat safer. They're never going to be like playing billiards, but some of the obstacles and the positioning of the obstacles, like having the whoop section and opposite direction without any space in between, that's
for speed.
Not good,
to get the speed up, right? What about left hand, right hand starts, 90-degree starts? I know there's a lot of chaos.
I like left hand starts so that they can get to the brake and adjust their speed easier, and I think it reduces some of the crashes that happen in the first turn.
What about whoops and knocking those down? And I know that with 450s and a time race and not a lap race, they just get chewed to pieces like the rest of the track. Do you like that? Maybe less whoop pads and smaller, or start them out where they're not so peaked out.
Yeah, that's a difficult one, because it's not necessarily the size of them that the spacing plays a bigger role.
Sure.
Also,
good point.
Yeah.
All right, so
spacing, and when the spacing is irregular, especially in the second half of it, it's really tough on the riders, and
Do you ever support artificial obstacles in Supercross? I know that they were testing, artificial whoops and things like that where they don't break down. Do you want them to break down naturally and make the rider adapt?
Yeah, I am not for.
Good.
We talked about some like a whoop section that would be made out of a rubber type material.
Yeah.
Some years ago. But I think then it's going to become more and more specialized and all that, and the top teams will probably buy a set of those whoops, and even if they cost a bunch of money, and then if they're perfectly the same length, the same distance, same height, the same profile, then you could develop a bike
just for
work
that.
perfectly in those whoops,
That's a really good point. You have so much on your plate with 3 OEMs, the director of motorsport, all that stuff. And I know how much you love Motocross Des Nations. Do you ever see yourself, stepping back from that or the process or the team and just like, you know what, I've got too much on my plate, 11 months out of the year. I can't do this.
Well, I like the Nations. I like the event a lot. I think it's one of the best races from the whole year. And I like to help, but if they want somebody else to do it and they can do a better job, I'm all for it.
Oh, shit, you're calling them out. You're like, hey, if you can do better, do it.
Yeah.
Okay. What about, and I love how you call it Des Nations too, because everybody old school, we all still call it Des Nations. But what about some format changes? What about like maybe every 2 years, like golf with the Ryder Cup or making it, a little bit more special as opposed to every year? Do you like maybe every 2 years or something, a format change to help with the scheduling?
I've been thinking about the format. I would like to see the racers not have to race 250s and 450s against each other. I think do two motors 250, two motors 450 would be better, and it would unfortunately cost a little bit more because it would mean 4 riders, and but I think it would be better, more balanced. The racing would probably be better.
Mm-hmm.
And now the guy that has to ride the 250, it's no fun because you most likely will have a poor start, and it's the 450 roost the whole event,
Yeah, that's amazing. You're introspect on this because of your history as a rider and a manager, all that stuff coming through. What about? I mean, I don't think fans realize when you're picking a team, how many guys or teams or OEMs told you no before you put the team out. They're thinking that you get every choice, every selection of any rider you want, and you're not. I mean, sometimes this is your second, third, fourth pick.
Yeah, it used to be, whoever you wish to go, they would be so happy to go, and the team would be happy. But now some of the riders are not interested, or the rider is interested and the team is not interested, and
I mean, do you ever see, and this is kind of sad for me, talking to David Bailey about this too, is for us as seeing what the Des Nations, a lot of the generations now never knew that. Unless they go back to YouTube and watch, they don't realize how much it meant. Even Carmichael, when he was still racing it. Do you think it'll ever retain that prestige and riders will line up to want to go again? Or do you think with scheduling and the world we live in now, it's never going to go back to that?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. I hope that people will get back on it, and maybe there's something can be done long term with the schedule.
Yeah,
there seem to be a little bit more cooperation now between the promoters, both from the European side, from Supercross and American motocross. So maybe down the road we will be able to get it better again.
Gosh, I hope so, Roger. 'Cause I don't think the sport realizes how special that is, and for riders. And I'm not judging anybody that doesn't want to go because they have their own motivations and things like that. But I sure would love to get that back. And you've got 2 second and third in the points right now. You got Jet Lawrence, who finally has 2 wins this year, and he's back up on top with the red plate. But a lot of people compare Jet Lawrence's talent to James Stewart. Do you see that, or who does Jet Lawrence remind you of over the years of who you think he looks like riding?
Well, he's the lightest on the bike that from anybody that I can remember, and
wow,
he it's no secret that he is super talent, and
So of all the generations,
nothing seems to phase him. But when we can put pressure on him, then maybe he's beatable, But you need to put pressure on him from the beginning. And
right.
Unfortunately, the last couple of races, we had Chase with his hand hurt, and then Aaron crashing. So he rode pretty much without pressure the last race. And
is Chase going to be 100%?
We're 6 races down the road, and the point difference is, it's only 6 points between him and Chase, and 9 points between him and Aaron. Yeah. And, the top 7 guys, all the way down to Tomac, is still pretty close. It's 17 points between first and 7.
That's amazing.
So, yeah.
Is Chase going to be 100% for Texas?
It's getting better, his hand, but I don't know if it's going to be 100%. It's hard to say because he said it. His grip is not just a pain, but he did not have the same grip strength than normal. And
okay.
He has a couple little bones in his hands that are bruised, and a bone bruise is sometimes more painful than a broken bone.
Yeah, but the good thing, the only silver lining of that whole thing is it came with the week of the break, so at least he got 1 extra week to let that heal up.
You're right.
All right, so I know you're very busy. We'll give you the Dunlop 5 questions and let you get out of here. I've always enjoyed how much I appreciate you. I've told you this a million times. All you got going on, you still answer our calls. But here we go, Dunlop 5 questions. Make sure you check out Dunlop at Ride Dunlop on all their socials. All right, what would you do? Would you give everything to sign Deegan for the future? Do you believe the hype on Deegan going in the future?
Well, he is. He is obviously good, and he's a fighter that's like that. He doesn't give up. If he has a crash or something, he gets back up and gives it his best. But I think the guy that is going to give us the biggest headache in the future is Jet,
Yeah, I was going to say. So, all right, so you would not pay Deegan a ridiculous amount of money just to get him. I mean, you want to see this play out and see how he does before he gets to a 450?
Well, in the 250s, I don't see many chance to beat him right now. Who is going to beat him in the 250? But
okay,
450 is a different story, maybe.
Yeah, we've seen that even with Jet. All right, you have seen it all. What still impresses you in this sport? When you leave a race or leave the weekend, what still impresses Roger DeCoster? How good
these guys are with timing the jumps and coming out of a turn and do a blind rhythm section and land within a few inches every lap with the ruts and it's like I said before, to be able to use the 450 power and be that precise in a stadium, it's impressive.
And I love that you can still be impressed after all these years. That is neat. All right, so a single over a table over a single, is that called a quad?
You can call it whatever you want.
If you've got the balls to jump it, you call it whatever you want. I like
the quad, yeah.
All right, I like that. All right, so the Mount Rushmore of our sport, I'm already putting you on there, so I just need 3 more names of the Mount Rushmore of motocross.
Well, of course, Ricky.
Okay. It's a hard one, I know.
I need to name all 4 of them.
No, you're already up there. So you got you and RC so far. So you got 2 more to put up there with you. I'm already putting you on there. Everybody does.
What Bale did that one year was pretty impressive.
Yeah,
to win 3 championships in 1 year. That and being from Europe, where he he did not really grow up with Supercross. He had to figure that out, and I think that was a big one.
And then he said, "Kiss my ass and left," which is even better. That's even cooler. He just said all that and said, "I've got all your titles and all your women. I'm leaving."
Yeah. Then it's hard to say, but Stanton, what he did was pretty impressive. He did not seem to have that super talent like some guys coming up, but he worked for it and he made it work and, won multiple Supercross and outdoor titles.
Yeah, because when you look at like Villapoto and Dungey and these guys that have just tons of, it's so hard. You almost have to do a Mount Rushmore of generations instead of just overall. But the one good thing is your name's always there.
Compare, what Dungey is and Villapoto did compared to
Robert and Hannah,
Mickey Johnson and Bailey and Bale, what they did, it's. But my feeling is that the real champions, they would be champions in their generation if they were transported into that generation.
That's neat, yeah.
Because it's a mindset and willing to do anything that it takes to get there, and work for it and be honest with yourself, analyze what your weaknesses are and improve in those areas and fix it,
That's awesome. All right, what is your favorite Vince Friese story?
My favorite?
Vince Friese story. I know that I always ask riders this, but Vince Friese seems like he's the enemy number one in all of Supercross in both classes and both coasts all the time. And then the World Supercross.
I am not sure I understand your question.
All right, Vince Friese is like his reputation is that he just takes everybody out. So I always ask riders when I ask them these questions, it's like, do you have a Vince Friese story? Because it seems like everybody's been taken out by Vince. I was wondering if one of your riders had, or if you remember back when Vince ruined one of your nights.
In my generation, the guy, one of the good guys that was you needed to have mirrors and whatever was Pierre Kasmaker.
Yes, so he'd clean your clock too.
Yeah, he just would do erratic things and jump across on a jump. Yeah.
Well, how did your generation handle people like that? Did you guys hunt them like a wolf pack and kind of take care of the whole, make sure that they knew that wasn't tolerable?
What I did is I gave him the same treatment.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Hell yeah, rubbing elbows. All right, here's the last question. This is a toughie. Would you have picked up your bike and finished the race like McAdoo with your junk hanging out for a whole Supercross main?
Probably yes, but I would have hoped that the weather was a little warmer, so I looked a little bit more.
That is awesome. Roger, I can't think of a better way to end an interview with that, man. Thank you, sir, for 20 years of being on DMXS and putting up with this. We respect so much what you do and what you've contributed on a bike and in our sport and how you continue to try to help it grow. You appreciate you so much now as we always have. So thanks, Roger.
Thank you, and thanks to your fans also for supporting our sport.
Good deal. Roger, talk to you soon, brother. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a good afternoon.
You
Bye.
too, sir. All right, there we go. Roger DeCoster just said it, what we all were thinking, that it would rather be Daytona in 86 degrees with your junk hanging out because that would hopefully do better. Although McAdoo, hey, man, no shame in your game at all. So that was a good one. Catch up with him. I talked to Roger last year at Atlanta, and we've talked a few times on the phone to get all this lined up. And when I say this man is busy, I have seen a lot of his schedule and seeing what he has to do on a daily basis. So for him to carve out 40 minutes for us is amazing. So we always appreciate that for sure. Guys, thank you to our sponsors. As always, RacerX, MX Sports, W Wheels, OGO, Concept 2 Rowers, and the great folks, at Ride Dunlop. I think that Kevin and I might be doing Day in the Dirt down there at Dade City after Daytona. I'm going to be doing Ricky's Race, and Kevin will be announcing Daytona Supercross with Weege and the gang again. So we are still not as busy as Roger DeCoster, but we still got lots going on. So guys, thanks for checking us out. And I guess we're back when we're back. Peace.
Hey, this is Ryan Villapoto, and listen to DMXS Radio.
You listen to us because we are motorcycle guys. You might even call us gurus. We are awesome.
I've been called a lot worse than that, Kevin Kelly.
Yeah, we're the guys. We know everything. I know everything about you. I know everything about movies. I know everything about the space shuttle launches and the crashes. Everything.
And because you turn to us for motorcycle knowledge, we only tell you about what's the best, Kevin, because our spotless reputation that we've built for 16 years is on the line. That's why.
Yeah, and I would not risk my crappy reputation on just anybody. That's why we are telling you about Dunlop tires. It's what we have on our bikes. I have a fleet of motorcycles, and they all have fresh, crispy Dunlops on them. If the pros have them, you know us amateurs are going to have them. They're good enough for them. They got to think they're good enough for us dorks.
Too good for Dunlops, you're a tire snob. We want nothing to do with you.
Yeah, good luck with that. But not just the pros use them. Everyday riders agree, and they have the testing to back it up. You can't beat the quality of Dunlop motorcycle tires.
Let's wrap this bad boy up, Kevin. Whether you're on the dirt, the road, or the track, you can depend on Dunlop. To learn more about their products, visit DunlopMotorcycleTires.com or your local pro dealer. The amateur guys are working their way up. Go to a Dunlop pro dealer. Check them out. We love them. You will too.
Get ready, America, because WUSA is your #1 source for quality wheel sets in America. WUSA offers all the top brands that you and the world's best racers know and trust, like Reed, Dungey, Millsaps, Tickle, Sealy, Short, and more. All rely and trust WUSA, because all our wheels are built right in our shop in Orange, California. And if you want it custom made for your bike, like the world's best freestyle riders, Renner, Deegan, Adams, Madison, Mason, Sherwood, and others, you can choose different spoke and nipple colors for a completely custom look that'll dazzle you. Off-road riding, WUSA can build you wheels for the absolute toughest of conditions. And W also offers DID and Excel rims, along with OEM replacement spoke and nipple kits for your stock hubs. Need brakes? W offers the industry's best oversized and standard brake kits from Galfer and Brembo. Just see your local dealer or visit us at WUSA.com. Hey, you can also download the most current W catalog from the iTunes App Store. WUSA, DUBYA USA. It doesn't get any better than us.